Fred, good morning. We welcome you to the program this morning, and we'll start with a review of the Old Prophet's ad that was in the Republic yesterday for our program on this 23rd day of January 2011. The ad in the Republic yesterday said a personal testimony. The prophet call came on me July 17th, 1955, when I was out in the woods praying. I've kept a diary through all the years since. Periodically over the years I have gone back and reviewed the diary entries. Time and time again, when I would get discouraged at the unbelief and rejection I was receiving from the world and my fellow Christians, my God would impress upon me that He was preparing me for a world mission. Until recently, I didn't know how that was going to come about. But now I understand it would be via the internet. Over the years, as I was trying to work it out, no one in their wildest dreams could have envisioned the World Wide Web. But here it is in the 21st century, and the Lord tells me this will be my channel to the world. Before I die, my message will go to the whole world. Through this medium, my weekly radio broadcast does go to the world. So, do you want to see the Old Prophet in action and see these broadcasts as they happen live? You can. You can go to YouTube, The Old Prophet, or the website, theoldprophet.com. Fred, here we go. The table's set. Where are we going?
Thank you, John. Yes, I know, John, that some of our listeners, and this has been expressed to me, they believe that the old prophet has gotten clear off track and under delusions of grandeur. And I want to say that I've studied seriously the Bible and the history of the Bible, and I want to say that this has been the evaluation of all the prophets through history, and even Jesus. They said he's mad. They said he's mad, and when the time comes, my friends, that God's reality keeps advancing. I'll put it that way, and. But we humans we want comfortable doctrines and comfortable beliefs, and we settle down with doctrines and beliefs, and periodically all through history, read your history, periodically all through history, God has raised up prophets to kick His people in the backside and get them moving. If I had time this morning, I could give you many examples. And what I'm saying again is that this is happening again. And I'm saying to you preachers and you people that claim to be Christians, I'll put it this way. John and I just had a serious conversation on this, and I said, John, when I'm expressing opinion, I say it's opinion. But when the Spirit of God has impressed upon me to the point that He has on this, I no longer express it as opinion. But of course, we're fallible in our understanding. And the old prophet could be wrong, but you preachers, in your cowardice and your unwillingness to face these questions I'm bringing up, and they're not questions, my friends, that I'm just bringing up. They're questions that modern reality is bringing up, and all your seminaries today are discussing it. And I want to say to you preachers, in your cowardice, you're trying to sweep it under the rug, and you refuse to deal with this. I have a message for you from the Eternal Father. You cannot get by with this. And many of you, probably your conscience right now is bothering you. You can't get by with this. Even if you think the old prophet is wrong, this is not the way to handle it. This can't be swept under the rug, and it has to be examined and discussed. And that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. That I'm open to you. I'm asking, and I come to your churches even and try to discuss with you. I'm open to you. I'm asking you to extend to me the same Christian courtesy that I'm extending to you. And this is a call from God. And as I said, throughout history, God's reality is dynamic, not static, and let me put it this way. You think that old Fred Allman has dreamed up this concept that God has called him a prophet for this modern day. But I want to share with you some of the other philosophers and thinkers of our age. And what has happened, my friends, is, I'll state it as my opinion again, what has happened is that you're still enmeshed in your Bronze Age theology. You're still trying to explain God's reality in old doctrines and myths that are centuries old. And what I'm saying is that the time has come when we've got to open our hearts, mind, and soul, and we can't sweep this under the rug, and the ones that try to sweep it under the rug are going to be left in the dustbin of history. And I've written a book. I don't mention my books very much, but I have written a book examining the old age-old doctrines and how they're out of harmony with both the Bible and modern reality. And I'd be happy to send you this book. This is called A Prophet for the 21st Century. And I've examined the Bronze Age theology and where that it fails to describe reality. Because when Christianity extended outside of the Jewish area of Jesus and Paul and so forth, and extended out to the Greco-Roman world, they had begun to think scientifically. We'll have to admit that, but they was following the science of Aristotle and some of the Greek thinkers, and they started to think about the atom and some of these scientific principles. But when the early church saw, we've got to adjust to reality as it's understood in the modern Roman Empire at that time. And so what they did, they adopted the Greek-Roman science, which was partially right. The atom was a final division of matter, a little billiard ball and so forth, and that was a good beginning for the atom. But we now understand it better. I'm just using this as an example. And so what has happened is that we've been in a stagnant situation now for centuries. And God bless you, I'm not questioning your honesty up to this point, but the times of this ignorance God winked at, and He commands all people everywhere to repent. God is calling on you to repent and open your mind, because your Bronze Age theology and your literalism of the myths that were used back then to explain reality, and the beginnings of science that the Greeks and Romans were thinking of, that the church adopted, scientific reality is growing way on beyond that, and God has called a prophet today to bring us up to date, and that's all I'm asking. And I want to read just some of the introduction from this little book here that I just wrote a year or so ago. I say here, Carl Jaspers in his book The Future of Mankind speaks of the darkness in the world today and the drifting conditions, and he says we need prophetic guidance. But he declares that there are no prophets, and he says we couldn't believe them if there were. I quote him here. Prophets might save us if they could cast their spell on high and low alike, convincing everyone by their example, their strong faith, and their call to penance. They would bring about the change in man without which he seems doomed. But there are no prophets nowadays, nor could we believe them. That's the modern skeptical understanding. And the Church of Christ and different ones say God doesn't speak through prophets anymore and so forth. Reading on. Jasper seems to believe that a modern day prophet would be impossible, but other thinkers of the past have not only believed in the possibility of such a thing, they have predicted the coming of a prophet to lead the world out of the mass confusion and darkness of our day. Don't argue with me, friends. We're in mass confusion. We have thousands of different doctrines, all the different doctors and churches fighting with each other, and a complete Babylonian condition. I didn't originate this. I've studied the great philosophers and thinkers of the last 100 years or so. I want to share with you some of their thinking. Albert Schweitzer, a mighty original genius will come with the authority to open a new path for the world. Now, I don't know about the word genius,